everyone. Welcome to My Chamber TV, the heartbeat of our community. I'm your host today, and again, 2 weeks in a row, my co-host, Jamie Mick. Welcome back again.
Thanks for having me, Barbara.
Oh,
really
it's my
appreciate
pleasure. Well, we have a couple of call-in guests that's going to be joining us today, and whether you're tuning in for the very first time or not, we welcome you to My Chamber TV, a brand that has never been done before, the way we're doing it here in our community, where we give people like Jamie to come on board and give her the platform to talk about what's happening in the community, whether it be with the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, which you're going to be talking about. It's actually, we're going to be talking about an event that's coming up with two absolutely incredible speakers that you don't want to miss out on. One of the things that I hear as a commonality when we interview chamber members, board members, ambassadors, and business owners is that you have to get involved with your community and get involved and join the chamber, because that's what they all say. When you do get involved, it just mushrooms from there. It grows and grows.
And I think people just really don't understand how much public relations, PR, whatever you want to call it, you get from being a chamber member or Rotarian. Because the simple fact that you're rubbing shoulders or elbows or whatever with other folks, leaders in the community, really gives you an opportunity to get known in the community.
Sure.
So, you know, folks, I mean, here it is 12 years later, 14 years later, and people know who I am, but they do that because I was a chamber member, I'm a Rotarian, and because I've worked with them side by side in the community. So when they need a real estate information or they want somebody to help them find space, they call me. I love it. It's great.
Well, you know, it makes sense too, because when you meet people that you know, like, and trust, you remember that.
Oh, sure.
And, you know, not everyone is aligned with everyone, but at least if you have a heads up or maybe even a referral from somebody, it makes all the difference in the world than just Googling somebody and just going cold. You don't know what their ratings are. You just have no history. And nowadays, you know, we're all watching our pennies. We want to make sure that when we're going to be investing in home improvement or air conditioning or whatever, it's so great to be able to just go, oh, I know this person. She's a member of our Chamber of Commerce, or she knows Jamie Mick and she's part of the Rotary, or whatever the case may be. So I really love that. One of the biggest things we all know in business is engaging with people.
Oh, yeah.
And really trying to read people's personalities, try to understand, okay, I want to zig and when they're zagging, or do I zig and zig with it? So you want to really have that matched enthusiasm somehow, and it's not always easy to do.
Oh, no. And sometimes people, you know, they really just kind of sum you up and they're done with you. They don't even, you've got really about 20 seconds before they're even going to decide if they're going to give you their time, because time is probably the most valuable thing that every professional has.
You know, that's a very, very valid point. It truly is. And, you know, I heard many years ago when I was starting out in business and trying to figure out who I was at that time, and I heard this is what they said then, and we talked about this briefly last week on 15 seconds, people do size you up. You have 15 seconds to make an everlasting impression. Now, 15 seconds is a lot of time in TV or radio, but person to person, one-on-one, face-to-face, gosh, you have to put your best bells and whistles forward. So we have a special guest who's going to be joining us, calling in here in just a moment or so, and it happens to be Michael Angelo Caruso, who's going to be doing a fantastic event coming up on how to engage someone within 15 seconds.
Right. Actually, he's going to be doing 3, one in Citrus County, one in Pasco County, and one right here in Pinellas County. So 3 opportunities next week for you to really be in front of one of the top trainers in the country. He's and the great thing is that he's spending about 2 weeks here in Tampa, in the Tampa Bay area, because he's being hired by other corporations in the Bay Area to come in and train their sales staff. And so, you know, for $35, you're getting dinner, you're getting some great entertainment, and hopefully you've got some self-improvement tips that you're going to be able to take back and make money off of.
And you know what, it really is all about personal growth and development. You have to really start to really look into that. But I do believe we have Michael on the phone. Let's say hello. Good morning, Michael. Or no, it's afternoon now.
Yes.
There you go. How are you doing?
half-packed for the Florida trip. I can't wait to see you guys.
Well, the weather's perfect down here and perfect for your events as well. How to engage someone in 15 seconds. That is so powerful. Give us a little overview on don't give it all away, but just a few little tidbits on what you're going to be covering.
Sure. This idea of being able to be what I call psychologically attractive, this idea of having people like you better sooner, is an art form. And I think sometimes because of reality television and because sitcom stars make it seem so easy, we sometimes don't give it all the attention that it deserves. For example, there are two types of expressions to use when you walk into a room. One is called smiling, and the other one is called the resting face or the neutral expression.
Oh.
And most people do not, surprisingly, walk into the room with a smile on their face. Most of the time you have to make a conscious effort to do that. Mm-hmm. When I do this demo live, which I'll be doing at all 3 events in Florida next week, you can hear 2 things. The first is you can hear a pin drop as I start to talk about how important it is. But then you hear nothing but laughter as I demonstrate the stark difference between walking into the room with a smile versus walking into the room without a smile. It is an amazing difference. Mm-hmm. A second thing I'll talk about with the group is the idea of how you physically greet people. In America, we often use a handshake as part of a greeting. Not too long ago, men did not even shake hands with women, but now we shake hands with everybody. And I demonstrate what's something called the perfect handshake, because it turns out a lot of people don't know how to shake hands. Perhaps you've met somebody recently that had either a weak handshake or an overpowering handshake. Yeah?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, for sure.
So again, I do a demo with somebody from the audience, an unsuspecting volunteer, and the audience loves it, man. If I get credit for one thing as a professional speaker, it's that I do not speak from behind the podium. I interact with the audience, and fully 30 to 50% of my speech is unscripted, meaning ad-libbed.
I love that.
And the audience, I've learned, is very, very funny. You just have to work it, cultivate it.
That's really exciting, because as I think about that, when you do meet someone that walks into a room, I would guess that when you're walking into a room with a smile, a natural smile, and whatever we need to do to figure out how to give that natural smile, doesn't that mean that you're a little bit more approachable than if you come in with kind of like a poker face?
Oh my gosh, it means a lot of things. Not only more approachable, you send a signal that you're confident. How important is that if you're walking into a meeting with a work team? Or how about an angry client, an angry customer? You walk in with a smile, not a sociopathic, broad smile, but just a little smile that says, I know something you don't know. I know how to solve this problem.
I love him.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. It really does. So you're going to spend time talking about all of this and more on how to engage somebody in 15 seconds. So let's see. Now you've listened to this gentleman before, haven't you?
Actually, no. I've watched Michael's videos on his website.
Okay.
When we first were talking about bringing him in, the governor of Rotary for our district asked me, check this out. What do you think? And one of the things that I do a lot of public speaking as well. And one of the things I thought was so unique about Michael was the fact that he doesn't stand on the stage. He's going to be down. He gets down on I hate to say on the floor.
Makes it real.
He gets down on the floor. He's very real. It's not like you're at one of those career track seminars where you're about to fall asleep. Not at all.
Good.
He's very engaging. You can certainly see that the audience responds to him. And I think that, when you bring people into a room, particularly in an evening after they've worked all day long, most of them will have to get out of work early in order to attend this. And so, they really want to not only be entertained, but they want to walk away with some value. And we talk about that a lot in Rotary, about the value of speakers at our club meetings. And so we really wanted to bring somebody in that was dynamic, that would be fun, but in the end, they'd walk away with some extra tools in their toolbox to help them professionally as well.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's not a matter of having a huge overfilled toolbox, but some really key points that can make all the difference in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I never really gave it any thought about walking into a room with a smile, maybe because I'm just always so organically happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're very bubbly.
It just flows pretty easily. But the thing is that the average person doesn't really know that.
No, and I think the handshake is something I've heard the handshake analysis before, and I evaluate a lot of people by the way they shake my hand professionally. There's nothing worse for me as a woman to have a man shake my hand as if he's, it's going to break. That kind of keys me off right away that he doesn't look at me as an equal. Because he didn't shake my hand as if he would shake any other gentleman's hand. So I use that. I do that measurement all the time.
It's interesting. That's very interesting that you say that. I want to ask Michael a question about that. What about a man who shakes a woman? I don't mean to make it all about men, women, all that, but let's face it, this is reality. This is reality, okay? I mean, we are all as one, and we are all equal. But I want to ask you a question about the man with a very, very weak handshake. What does that mean?
Or character, and I'm not saying any of these judgments are fair. I'm just saying
I understand.
The quality of that handshake.
Sure.
And what's interesting is when I interview men about it, men often tell me that they think the woman wants a handshake. We call it the handshake.
Yeah.
And when women are around, when the man says that, they laugh and they say, that's the most ridiculous thing. We want a firm, assertive grip, just like men do.
Yep.
Sure.
So it's interesting how, once again, throughout history, men not understanding women's expectations, ladies and gentlemen. and if they understood women a little bit better.
Well, it's true. Okay.
Going to cover the 15 most powerful words you can use with another person. And I'll share a few of them with you right now. I'm proud of you. If you can figure out a way to levy a positive compliment with somebody by saying, I'm proud of you, or, geez, I hear great things about you, or you really look great tonight. Something that makes them feel good about themselves, bonus points. But of course, a lot of people, when they're networking or working a room, they're a little bit insecure. All they can think about is themselves. And this is, the trouble sometimes with human psychology. So I'll be running down the 15 most powerful words at this event. And ladies, let's tell the listeners too that the meeting planners for these 3 evenings have really pulled out all the stops. We also have another great speaker in the way of John T. Capps. So he's a much different style than I am, and I really enjoy John's program. I think he'll be great. We have terrific food and drink. We're serving what are called hearty appetizers, and let me just translate this for you, anybody that's confused. You don't have to have dinner. This will be good enough for dinner.
Great.
Hearty means protein. I've heard terms, and I can't promise because all 3 menus are different, but I've heard terms like chicken piccata. I've heard terms like prime rib. I don't know what's being served at each individual evening, but we're not skimping on the food is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, that's so
I will
awesome.
also be personally giving away hundreds of dollars in door prizes. So I promise you it'll be a great networking event. You should bring business cards. You'll be able to practice what I teach in real time, because when you get up to say goodbye to people, you'll be able to give them the perfect handshake and utter a few of the 15 most powerful words. I'm teaching skills that will make you a better person for the rest of your life.
That is, and you know what? There is no price that you can put on that. That's very valuable, John. We have just a minute or so to go to break. I want to mention that you are going to be featured Monday, November 3rd, Citrus Hills Golf and Country Club at 6 p.m., Wednesday, November 5th at the Spartan Manor at Newport Richey at 6 p.m., Pasco County, and Thursday, November 6th at the Banquet Masters at Clearwater, Pinellas County. So come and join us all there any one of those nights. And if you really want to get ambitious, go to all 3 of them, because I'll tell you, I have a feeling that this is going to be a really powerful event. We're going to learn so much. And you know what? You're never too old to really understand some of the things that the young and up-and-coming professionals and the seniors and the people in between that have to share with one another in the workforce. You're a pro, Michael. I can't wait to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us. One last little tidbit, one last little golden nugget before we take a break.
Well, sure, let's do this. And
you got about 20
you've
seconds.
already mentioned it, but we have a website for people to sign up, which is www.rotary. For those of you that are non-Rotarians, ROTARY 6950 So it's Rotary6950.org.
Yep.
And although
easy.
this is an event is sponsored by Rotary, it is a public event, so anybody can come. So we're especially looking to benefit customer service representatives, salespeople, and leaders of all stripes. Those are the types of people that would get the most from this program. Again, bring business cards, and I would like to meet you personally. I'm going to be circulating around the room. Come find me, shake my hand. I want to make friends in Florida. I love your beautiful state. I can't wait to be with you.
Very good. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for taking the time and calling in to My Chamber TV. And thanks to Jamie. She's going to be sticking with us for after the break because we're going to be interviewing Mr. Capps, who I have heard very much about.
And if you have anything that you can share with Mr. Capps and me, I'd be happy to recirculate your link on social media. So just get with me offline, and we'll repurpose this content.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
See you soon. Take care.
Ladies.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
We're going to take a brief little time out, and we're going to come back with the next speaker for this very same event. So don't go anywhere. In fact, you may want to share our show on Facebook during our little break, and when we come back, we have more to come right here at My Chamber TV, the heartbeat of your community.
The last several years have been confusing and trying for homeowners. Advisors Mortgage and Financial Group was there before the housing crisis, during, and we are still here now advising people of their options and helping them choose the best financial solutions for their family. You do have options, and today's market promises lots of opportunities. We have found that there are a lot of questions out there and misinformation, and we want you to know we have answers. Advisors Mortgage and Financial Group, providing solutions today for a better tomorrow.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B. Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Hi, I'm Derek Brooks, former linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During my NFL career, I realized the importance of giving back and started my foundation, Derek Brooks Charities. We help Tampa Bay youth prepare for a successful life through our college prep and mentoring programs. Our goal is to see youth excel academically and develop strong characters and be better citizens for tomorrow. To further our mission, we've teamed up with Fun Night, a company that gives members access to thousands of nationwide discounts on products and services they buy every day. These include entertainment, retail purchases, dining, and travel. Best of all, 33% of every membership fee goes to the charity of your choice. We love being able to save our supporters money while giving them a unique opportunity to support our charitable work in the community. I invite you to consider using Fun Night to save money and give back to your favorite cause. Visit www.funnight.us to sign up now and get a free 30-day trial. Save money, help others with Fun Night, and support Derek Brooks Charities.
Everyone's story is different, so why be limited to just one or two options? With Norcom's Norflex Home Loan, you're given the flexibility to tell your story. Pick your terms from 8 to 30 years, all while maintaining a low, fixed mortgage rate. You can pay off your loan more quickly or choose a term based on your budget and timeline. Whatever you do with the Norflex Home Loan, make it part of your financial plan. Norflex, short-term, long-term, your terms. Apply online at norcommortgage.com.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
And welcome back to My Chamber TV, the heartbeat of your community. I'm your host, Barbara Marvel Kelly, and with me is Jamie Mick. 2 weeks in a row. How lucky could we get?
Thank you so much for doing this.
Are you kidding me? This is so much fun. We were just talking during the break about how much fun it is really to work in the community and give back and work with some of the charities and everything. And it's wonderful. And as we work in the community, you know, it's never too late to understand concepts out there that can make your business and your own personal growth and development better. I am a firm believer in order to be successful in life, we have to look from within and really discover who we are and how we can be a better person. And I don't care how old we are. You never stop learning and you never stop growing. And I love where I'm at today. I can't wait for what I'm going to learn next. So we just had a great guest that was just on as a call-in, Mr. Michael Angelo Caruso. If he's still watching, thank you so much for that interview. Yeah, I can't wait to meet you, and you gave some really great tips on the handshake.
Yes.
A simple thing like a handshake that can really be powerful as far as making that impression. So we have another powerful personality that is coming on board here, and his name is Mr. John T. Capps. I mean, just that name sounds powerful, and it sounds like he's got a lot behind him to share with us too. And he's going to be actually at the same event with Michael Caruso and sharing from maybe a different angle and different personality, different approach. But I believe he's on the line. Not yet. He will be on the line in just a minute. Now, have you seen any of John's work yet?
Oh, John and I are actually quite good friends.
Good.
John comes down every March for the All Florida President-elect training that we do. We bring all of the Rotary-elect club president-elects to Orlando, so a little over 400 presidents for clubs. And we hold a 4-day seminar with them and kind of train them some of the Rotary International skills that they're going to need when they serve their club as president. And John is our Saturday morning speaker. And I've sat on that board for years. And we put John on Saturday morning because usually they've had some fun and fellowship on Friday night. And we need to wake them up and we need to get them going and jived for, you know, to be in a classroom for the next day, for Saturday. And John always does it. He is the most hilarious, entertaining speaker in Rotary that I've ever seen. And he's such a dear. I mean, it comes from his heart. He really loves to be with Rotarians. That's his. I mean, that's his juice. I mean, it just really gets him going, and it just exudes from him. And he's great because he engages in the fact that, you know, he's able to get somebody to really come out of themselves.
Sure.
My husband is kind of an introvert, and when I was going to think about throwing my hat in the ring to be governor, my husband wasn't quite really game for it, and we were on a cruise ship, so John had a captive audience, and he sat and spoke to my husband a little bit about, you know, being a spouse of a governor, and I absolutely adore him. I think he's probably one of the most just admirable leaders that we have in Rotary. And you can tell, I just adore the man.
That's wonderful.
I really do. And I'm so thrilled. He's going to be here all week with us. He's actually coming in on Friday, and then he's going to be up in Citrus. They have a huge event up there that they're doing a fundraiser, so he'll be up there, and I'm sure Rod and I will be traveling up there, and then he'll be with us all week. And then he goes down to the Bradenton area after we're through with him. And so he's going to spend a good 10 days, I think, here in Florida.
That sounds like he's going to be a really, really busy speaker and really sharing a lot of great things. And as I said before, you know, there's just so much to learn in business and just for different approaches and things of that nature. And, you know, for somebody like this, and to team up with somebody like Michael Caruso, I mean, that is going to be a power-packed day.
You know, the funny thing is I just got a call from one of the past district governors and kind of asked me about this event. And he said, you know, I heard that it's kind of being, you know, presented as a self-improvement professional event. And I said, well, here's the thing. I said, this event has Rotary in it, but it also has to have some professional growth in it. I said, so, you know, Michael's really going to work on the professional growth part of it. I said, and John is going to be all Rotary. And that's really what John is about. Sure. And And so I said, they're going to certainly get that impression of Rotary and what Rotary is about, but they're also going to get those tools to put in their toolbox professionally as well. And quite honestly, when you're managing volunteers in a Rotary, trying to get a fundraiser done or a project done, you need some leadership growth skills as well. So,
I would guess so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know the first thing about all that.
Oh, it's trust me, the first time I ever did it, I thought, oh, this is a lot different than managing a staff. And it is. Key part of it is you don't pay them.
Exactly. That could be the little key factor there.
Yeah, they're here because they want to be here.
Exactly. Now, I think we may have John on the phone.
I think so.
All right. Hey, good afternoon there, John. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Barbara and Jamie. This is an honor indeed.
Our pleasure, our honor. So tell us, what are you going to share with us about Rotary without giving away the whole story?
We won't give away the whole story, but certainly the vocations that everyone represents is extremely important. And when you place that with the ethics and our four-way test of is it the truth, is it fair to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships, and will it be beneficial to all? We as business people use that as a guideline to go by, and those of us that do realize the great impact that it has on our customer base.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's very true. People often ask me why I do what I do, and sometimes it's not always easy. Most Rotarians, we're living and dying by that four-way test.
Yeah, absolutely. And that takes quite a commitment. And
it's not always easy. Sometimes you need to,
dig a little deep.
Dig a little deep.
Do a little deep breathing.
Yep. As my grandmother would say, sometimes you gotta take the high road.
So what are your golden tips that you can share with us in the few minutes that we have here on My Chamber?
And we trust that as a past president of our Chamber of Commerce in Carteret County, North Carolina, down on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, we look forward to sharing with those that are Rotarians and those that are business people and those that are curious about improving themselves and making a difference. We'd like to enhance the opportunity to work with Michelangelo Caruso and promote the importance of attitude, commitment, and most of all, enthusiasm for life and for what we can contribute.
I so agree 110% with you. It really is all about attitude, commitment, and enthusiasm. But I think a lot of times people just get lost in the whole shuffle of business, and they don't really think they need to tap in to those qualities. And to have somebody like yourself, and of course with Michael, to share all these tips, I mean, it sounds like you are going to be a great 1-2 punch together on your days that you're going to be here in Florida.
Well, we've been excited to work together in Virginia and also in Ohio, and we look forward to our being together next week in the Great Bay Area. And we welcome everyone to enjoy a great evening of smiles on your faces, a twinkle in your eye. And for some folks, you get to see the fellow that doesn't even have a hair on his bald head.
And we brag about the fact that John has a Rotary tattoo on his head.
You were telling me that last week.
And I can tell you, when we do the All Florida Pets training, I have several people who come up to me and say, is it real? Is it real? Because they want to know if he really got his head tattooed with a Rotary wheel. And I always say, I really don't know if it's real or not. I just didn't think it mattered. That's always my coy little answer to it. But people are very curious about that. And I'm sure, John, it will be circulating during the happy hour from 6 to 7 where folks are mingling and working the room. And he's so good at that because if there's one thing about John, he's not afraid to go up to anybody and just ask him, how are you doing this evening? And that's exactly probably what he'll ask them. And really start to talk to them and find out who they are. And before you know it, he'll walk away with a couple hundred new friends.
Isn't that amazing? And that doesn't surprise me. I mean, listen to his enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
I have this feeling that you really come from your heart when you join these events and when you're shaking hands with people and meeting and greeting and asking them how they are.
Absolutely, Barbara. And I learned that by having a great mother and daddy, but also by them being involved in a chamber in that community where we grew up for my continuation in chamber and knowing the importance that the work that the chamber provides throughout each community. I salute you and every member you have to take advantage of this great opportunity next week, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. And if you're bald-headed, I'll even make you an honorary member of the Bald-Headed Men of America.
I love it. I love it. You're too much.
There's no way you can't adore him, right?
I know, right? Well, you do have the enthusiasm. It is just going to be infectious at these sessions, and I know everybody's going to walk away feeling not just a little bit better about themselves, but a whole lot better, because being a leader and sharing some of the things that is successful with yourself, obviously, it just has a tendency to just rub off on other people. And people that are coming, they're going to be open to hear what everyone has to say at this gathering. I think it's absolutely incredible. And I'm glad that you mentioned the chamber, because we here at mychambertv.com is a whole new concept down here in Florida, and we're hoping this will rub off in other towns and other communities to be able to bring the platform to chamber members. Have you seen our show before, or is this your first time?
It's going to be my first time, but I'm excited to take part in it, and I'm excited to view it. And it reminds me of in January when I spoke at the Eustis, Florida Chamber of Commerce installation banquet, and they recognized the leaders in that community, and I'm sure that you continue to do the same thing in the Bay Area.
Yeah, it really, and I always say if it's going to be, it's up to me. So I've jumped in with both feet, and I love doing the show and really bring the chambers to us so we can bring the chamber members to you, the viewing audience, and just see what's happening. Because I'll tell you, unless you really do jump in with both feet, you're only sailing through life really kind of half-winded, so to speak. So why not give it your all, give it your 100%, give it your enthusiasm and your excitement and your smiles and your great handshakes and all that, and engage, and really, really engage and mean it. So I'll tell you, this is going to be a fun event. I hear that you really get people going.
Well, that's what the reputation is. So we spent last week in Palm Springs, and now I've already got an invitation to return back out to California. But Florida's my baby, and I look forward to being in the Bay Area, and I salute you and the Chamber and what you do throughout the Bay Area.
Well, we certainly thank you so very much for joining us here on the call today. We'll look forward to meeting you. The weather is delightful. It couldn't be any better. So I think this is going to be really a win-win event for everybody. So thanks for calling in, and hope to see you next week.
I look forward to it. And remember, if you're taking a walk and if you're a leader and you're taking a walk and nobody's following you, you're just taking a walk. So come, be a part of the chamber and learn how to be a great leader.
I am going to remember that. Thank you so much, John. We'll see you next week. Thanks for calling in.
I'll see you Saturday, John. Take care.
Bye-bye. He's a sweetheart.
Bye now.
What a sweetheart.
I adore him. It's
oh
just
my
hilarious.
goodness, he's got me revved up already.
Oh yeah, and again, he was featured on the international magazine that Rotary International produces last spring as Mr. Rotary, and he is.
Yeah,
he really is.
Yeah, that's so exciting, because we really do need things to help sort of stir us up and help us with what we need to know. Things are changing, and it's one of those things.
Well,
is he still with?
Yeah, I just hung
okay.
up. One of the things that John always reminds me is, the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. And
Right.
It really does remind you of that, because, sometimes you think you have this big problem, and you really don't. When in the end, if you lead with your heart, you really don't have a big problem.
Nope.
And sometimes it's not always easy to do that, and sometimes you have to do some things that you don't really want to do. But, if there's one lesson John's taught me, it's lead with your heart.
It's true.
Because I really, that's the way, are you going to get hurt? Will you get stepped on? Yeah, maybe you might. But in the end, you did the right thing.
You did the right thing, and I'm so glad that you touched on that, because some people may call that living by listening to that good old gut feeling.
Yes.
But there's a science behind making decisions from the heart. My husband's Heart Math Institute certified, and the way to lead with the heart is just really simple. Once you start practicing that, if you've ever made decisions where you have that almost like that little voice going, you sure you want to do that?
Right.
Well, yeah, I really want to do because I'm going to get this and I'm going to get that. Then all of a sudden, you make that decision from the head and it comes back to bite you in the you-know-what. But that's okay too because we learn from these lessons. I have found listening to my heart, it comes so naturally now. And you're right. Yeah, you may get hurt and everything, but as long as you know you did the right thing, and the heart never makes a wrong decision.
That's correct.
Ever.
And that's why, we really try to teach ethics. I mean, one of the things that we really look at in Rotary particularly is, is the person ethical? Before we invite them to actually join a Rotary Club, are they ethical? Are they someone that practices that four-way test? And I can tell you, in my professional life, when I have been at a crossroads and I've thought, which way do I go? I think of the four-way test, and it's kind of like, my grandmother always just says, do unto others as you'd like them to do unto you.
Yep, you got it.
And, that's the four-way test in a nutshell. And you apply that, and guess what? The answer is there. It might not be the easiest answer, but the answer is there. And I think it's important that we teach those ethics and we teach that kind of things to those coming behind us.
Absolutely.
Because I think that ethics and really talking about our vocation is something in Rotary that we kind of shied away from for a lot of years, and now we're kind of back saying, no, be proud of the fact you're a commercial real estate broker.
Yes.
Be proud of the fact of what you do for a living, and talk to your club members about that.
Sure.
And the ethics we need to teach, and we need to find a way to teach that to the high school kids and the middle school kids, so that when they go out into the world, they have those same ethics that they're making decisions on. And if we do that, I hate to sound really, rose-colored, but the world will be a better place.
No, it will be, and it takes more people that live from the heart and are willing to share, are willing to give back. I mean, with this world of electronics, let's face it, these iPads are great, the iPhones are great, but what is happening to relationships?
Right.
What's happening to communicate? Real eye-to-eye, heart-to-heart contact. I'm not talking about getting mushy, lovey, gushy stuff, but just having a real relationship with people.
Yeah.
And I hear through the chamber members that it's going more back to the point that you just made.
Well, it's back to the old, is it better to send an email versus a handwritten note? I send handwritten notes. I do that because I don't get that many either, and it means a lot to me.
Yes.
We just did an event for CARES up in Pasco County, and Dr. Musamira was the presenting sponsor, who is a world-renowned heart surgeon in the area. And, I got a personal card from him last week thanking me for my work on that event. And, I put that right on the mantle in our house. Why? Because I'm proud of the fact that, he actually recognized my contribution to the event.
Sure.
Very rarely do you get a handwritten note from somebody. And I think that it means a lot. When I get a new client, I do the same thing. I send a handwritten note. I think it's important to do that.
I think so too. And you know what? As I said before, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So you're keeping that social grace alive and really passing that along to the younger generation is really key. It is critical. One of the things that I've learned doing my Chamber TV show is with the young professional groups in some of the various chambers that come on board, they are very respectful of us seniors. You're not a senior really yet.
But I could have an AARP card, but I don't.
But they really, it's okay, and we can bridge that gap and engage with the younger professionals. They do respect us, as we need to respect them for their knowledge in this new electronics world and more or less lack of communication and everything. And so it really is it's a wonderful mix.
And I think, for us in Rotary, one of the challenges that we have is, we have an age group of Rotary that was really kept this organization going. They're the folks in their 70s and 80s that are still going to the Rotary meetings and still very active in Rotary. And then you have a group of people that are in their mid-20s to mid-30s who are all about the technology. And so, as an organization, we really need to make sure that we service both groups. And I'm a public relations assistant coordinator for the zone, and we've had that discussion. I'm the Facebook queen, as they call me the social media queen, and I do use social media quite a bit, even when my own personally in my family.
Sure.
But it doesn't change the fact that when my logging brother sends me a birthday card in the mail, that it means a lot to me, rather than just put it on the phone. Or my nephew picks up the phone and says, I could wish a happy birthday on Facebook, Aunt Jamie, but I think it's just a little better to call you.
It is.
I mean, to me, that meant, those two things meant a great deal to me.
Of course.
Of course, all the wishings on Facebook meant a great deal, but the fact that those two took the time to take that extra effort. And I think that technology is a wonderful thing. It certainly has bridged the gap in my family because we're spread out. But I also think that we need to be conscious of the fact that it isn't the only communication avenue, highway we need to use. That touching-feely, personal touch is still very valued. I don't care what age you are.
No, it really is. There is no age limit on something like that, and for us to keep all that alive and everything, and do these seminars. Because, I try to listen into webinars and try to pay attention and try to stay cutting edge as a baby boomer, and sometimes it's really difficult for me, and I just don't get a lot of it. So I go to the people that are leaders in that whole arena and help me figure out how to. I asked my producer today about hooking up with Square, and he made it sound pretty simple. Well, we'll see how easy that's going to be for me, but I'm willing to at least learn, so I'm not closed-minded about that.
Yeah, and I think you need to be. My mom is 86, my dad is 87, and they're on Facebook, and if my mother can't be on Facebook, something gets scoofed up on the computer, she's on the phone right away. Because that's how, as a family, we share what's happening.
Yes.
When my nephew had leukemia and I was just about to be governor, I had promised my brother who passed away, his dad, that I would be there and take care of his boys, that I would, not to worry, I would be there, all the major stuff. So I'm trying to figure out, how am I going to be governor and visit 50 clubs and still be there when Charlie has to do chemo? Well, I was, through the great assistance of Brenda Wendt from our district, but also through Facebook and Skype, I was able to talk to him at night. When he was having a bad day, at night I would be at home and my husband would already have gone to bed, and I would talk with Charlie. So it was a way for me to stay connected, fulfill my commitment to my brother who had passed, but yet fill my commitment here locally that I needed to do. So I am a big believer in the power of Facebook.
Yes.
But I also realized that when I got home and I was able to actually physically hug him, because when they're going through chemo, you can't do that. We had toe hugs, is what we called them. I'd touch his sock. There was nothing that could replace that.
Right.
That was not replaceable.
Right.
But Facebook kept us connected, kept me in the loop with him, and he always knew that Aunt Jamie was right there.
And that's so important.
It was very powerful.
Well, it's even like the, I have a grandson. He's going to be a year old, and we don't see him all the time, and he's only an hour and a half away, little JD. He is so precious, and he now knows me on, and he has for quite a while, on the little FaceTime thing with the iPad. And I'm going, years ago when we used to hear that this was coming, I didn't think we'd see this in our time.
No.
And so now it's just, it's like an everyday matter of fact, but I'm so grateful that I have that capability to be able to see my little JD whenever they FaceTime me or FaceTime them, and it's just great, or my sister or anybody. So, there's a lot to be said for that, the way we're evolving with all the electronics and social media and everything. Bottom line as we close the show, though, is there's nothing like a good old-fashioned handshake, a one-on-one meeting with somebody, especially in business, and that eye contact, because you get a chance to really get a true feel for how they are, who they are, and it's just the way to do it. Do you have a couple of things you want to share that's coming up before we go to break?
Well, yeah, actually, the Chamber of Commerce there in West Pasco County has quite a few events coming up. Of course, we have the Home for the Holidays, downtown New Port Richey, which is kind of going to explode in Christmas very shortly.
That's what I hear.
And we've got the Holiday Lane that will happen, and then the second Saturday in December will be the Christmas Parade, the Holiday Parade. And that's always a great time. Bring your kids out, bring a blanket. If it's cool, bring some hot chocolate. And then the Celebration of Lights, which is happening out on 52. And what we've tried to do at the Chamber is bring everything that's happening on the west side of Pasco into one place. So if you go to Home Holiday on Facebook, you will see everything that's going on in West Pasco. Tina Shelton has done a phenomenal job building that page so that everything and anything anybody's doing, regardless of the organization, is listed there.
That's very cool.
So that's really cool. And then in January, which I'm sure we'll be back, Barbara.
Oh, yes, you will.
But Business Development Week is the last week in January, the 26th through the 30th. We have some great speakers coming in. We have Julie Weintraub is going to be the speaker for the Women's Lunch, which I think is on Wednesday. We'll have the trade show, and of course the keynote speaker on Monday will be there at the Spartan Manor, which will kick everything off. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming, and I'm sure Paul and Chip will be back with that information.
Oh, God love them. They'll be back, I'm sure.
And they'll give you all the details on that, but you can certainly go on the website. It should be up next month because it'll be in next month's newsletter.
Well, Tina Shelton's coming next week on the show. We're going to be talking about the lights and all the fantastic things that are going on.
And she'll talk more about the Facebook page that she's developed, and as well as all the organizations. She'll probably have everything there for you.
She's an amazing gal, isn't she?
She is amazing. The community volunteer extraordinaire.
And she does this full time.
She does this full time, yes. This is really her job. And she always says her pay is the gratitude and the warmth that everyone gives from her. She is truly a gift. I met her at a chamber event. She was my insurance agent with Allstate. Hey, Keith. And then we became very quickly friends and pretty much have been BFFs ever since.
Aww.
And usually, it used to be that if you saw one of us, the other one was there as well. Not so much because we do different stuff, but we certainly have a lot of fun together, and our husbands get along well. She has a fantastic husband who's a tech head too. So he helps us out with our computers and everything. I call him frequently, unfortunately. And so she's just awesome, and she just gives so much to the community.
Oh, I know.
And just enjoys it to no end.
Well, I'll tell you, I've really had the exposure with this. I'm not going to get through this without mentioning our event that I managed to survive.
Oh, you did wonderful.
Oh my gosh, our Dancing with the Local Stars. If you're tuning in for the first time, it was really a blast last week. But man, was I ever wore out after that?
Oh yeah.
Is that normal to just like?
Oh yeah.
I just like crashed.
Yeah. The week after we come back from competition, when Dave and I go. Just recently, the week afterwards, I'm kind of dragging. It takes a while to kind of rejuvenate. It took me about a week. It takes about a week for me to, I'm back in reality again. I'm not in that dance bubble anymore, and I have to get back to things. And I don't want to say it's a downer because it's so exciting and so much fun. But you've got a little afterwards, and you kind of,
just mellow out.
Just mellow out.
Really
you got to give yourself
out.
time to recoup a little bit.
I said to my husband, because he used to compete as a 5-time world martial arts champion. You can imagine the training when he went through, and he was just kind of chuckling at me. It's like when I do my workout boot camps at 5:30 in the morning, I come home, I don't even make it into the family room. I throw myself on the cold kitchen floor to just like pass out. And he laughs and laughs. He says, welcome to my world all these years. And I said, is that normal, hon, for me to feel like that after this go? I mean, I was going, the adrenaline, every day dance lesson. It was just so incredible. And then after the event, everybody asked, do you feel like let down? And I didn't know. I felt like I was still up on that lift with David. It was amazing. But I noticed my body felt like it was almost going through detox. I think detoxing from the adrenaline and all that. But anyway, it was fun.
And you stay pretty up, for a long period of time. And so, your body does, there's a certain point where your body kind of says, okay, I need a break. I need a break. I need a break.
And so I did. And so now I'm coming back up again. So watch out. It's time for us to say our goodbyes for today, but tune in next week because we will have Tina Shelton, who's going to be joining us and talking about what's going on in the area. And of course, we certainly appreciate you joining us here at My Chamber TV, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Barbara, very, very much. I so appreciate it.
We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time. And stick around and join us the next week on Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time right here at mychambertv.com.